I was 14 when I learned to pretend I was fine. My brother drowned. I watched it happen, and I couldn't save him. And after, everyone kept asking me, "Are you okay? How are you holding up?" And I learned really quickly that the answer they wanted was, "I'm okay." Not the truth, which was, "I'm not okay. I'll never be okay." I watched my brother die, and I can't breathe when I think about it. It comes up. So, what I did, I smiled. I said I was fine. I went to school. I did my homework. I laughed at jokes. And that's when I started masking. I just didn't know that's what it was called back then. So stay with me because today's different. It's Saturday and it's my reflection day. And I'm about to tell you something I've never said out loud about what masking as an HSP has cost me, which is a highly sensitive person, what it has cost me, and what I'm learning about taking that mask off. If you've ever pretended to be fine when you weren't, this one's for you. And quick thing is, if this is hitting home for you, here's how you support me and my work. I want you to hit subscribe at the bottom and turn on the notifications button because these Saturday reflections that I share with you, they're different, they're more personal, and they're more raw. And next week, I'm starting a whole new series on HSP, highly sensitive people, and relationships. How to stop attracting people who need you to stay masked. So subscribe now, turn on the notifications button so you don't miss what I have to share tomorrow. All right, let me tell you about masking and where this story started. And it's a personal, very personal story for me. And here's what happened after my brother died when I was 14 years old. As I mentioned, he drowned and I watched him die. And my whole world, it just shattered. I watched him drown and I was there and I couldn't save him. My 14-year-old self could not save him. And I'm getting emotional just talking about this. You know, what's wild is that for most of my life, I would have stopped filming this or just cut this part, just cut this part out because I learned at a very young age that crying makes other people uncomfortable. But here's what I'm learning as an HSP. This is what it looks like when we stop masking. We don't hide the tears. We don't apologize for feeling deeply. We just let it be real. And if you're watching this and you're tearing up too, that's your HSP nervous system recognizing mine. That's what I've been talking about all week about the mirror neurons doing what they do. That's not weakness. That's what it's called a connection. So yeah, my brother drowned when I was 14 and it still hurts. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't because That's what masking has cost me. Pretending pain does not hurt. All right. So in the days after he died, I watched everyone around me fall apart. My mom, my family, my brother, my younger brother, everyone was drowning in their own grief, in their own way. And I remember thinking, as young as 14 years old, someone has to hold it together. Someone has to be okay. So I decided that it would be me. I went back to school a week after my brother passed away. I was still in primary school, and this was back in Nairobi, Kenya. I went back to school a week later. I smiled when people said, "I'm sorry." And I said, "Thank you. I'm okay," even though I wanted to scream because my nervous system wanted to scream. I did my homework. I showed up. I went to class. I laughed at lunch with the other kids. And everyone said, "Wow, she's so strong. She's handling it so well." But I wasn't. I was masking. I was shoving every single feeling down. And you know what happens when you suppress? It's depression. Here's what I didn't know then, but I understand now as a HSP. We feel everyone else's pain and we make ourselves small, so small, so we don't add to it. So I learned at a very young age, at 14 years old, my feelings are too much. My grief is too heavy. If I show it, I'll make things worse. Better to just disappear, smile, be quiet, and be fine. And I'll tell you this, I have been doing that ever since I was 14 years old. And I am going to be 50 years old this year. I have still been doing that since I learned it at 14 years old. Until that panic attack in the bathroom that I had last year. Until I couldn't do it anymore. That's when I started taking the mask off, starting with letting myself cry and grieve my brother for the first time in 40 years, like I just did right now with you guys. And what masking looks like. What does it look like, you ask? So let me tell you what 40 years of masking looks like, because I bet some of you do this too. At work, I'm the calm one, the one who handles everything, no matter how chaotic it gets. I'm smiling, I'm professional, and I keep it together. At home, I walk in the door and I can't speak. My face hurts from smiling all day. My body is so tense and I feel like I'm gonna break. But I don't let anyone see that part of me. With friends, I'm the helper, I'm the listener, the one who shows up when they need something. But when I need something, I don't ask, because asking feels like being a burden. With family, I'm still the strong one, the one who's handling it, even when I'm not. And here's what masking has cost me. I don't know how to just be without performing, without managing, without making sure everyone else is okay first. I spent 40 years being whoever everyone else needed me to be for them. And I have no idea who I actually am underneath all of that. And that's terrifying. So here's what happened last year that made me realize I couldn't keep doing this. I had to take the mask off. I had a panic attack at work in the bathroom. I was smiling with the patient's mom, reassuring her, being calm, being professional. And that visit ended just fine. And then I went to the bathroom. I locked the door and I couldn't breathe. My chest was so tight. My hands were just shaking. And I remember thinking, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep pretending. And that's when I started discussing this with my therapist when I would go to therapy. And that's when I learned the word masking. All I did was explain to my therapist the feeling I was experiencing. And my therapist said, "You've been masking your whole life since you were 14, since your brother died." And guys, to be honest, I didn't even have any words to say to her at that point. All I did was I just cried because someone finally saw what I was going through. All those years pretending to be fine. That wasn't strength. I was just in survival mode. My nervous system was in survival mode, just doing what it knows to do best. I learned at 14 years old that my feelings were too much. So I hid them for 40 years. And my body finally said, enough. And I've been talking about that all week, about the body finally saying it's enough. If you don't do it yourself, your body's going to let you know. So here's what I'm learning about taking my mask off. It's terrifying. It's awkward and uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable. And like the first time I told someone I'm not okay today, I wanted to immediately take what I said back and just say, "Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm fine. I'm fine." I didn't want to be honest and show that vulnerability that I'm not okay. But here's what I'm noticing. The people who matter, they don't flinch. When I said I can't do that today, I need to rest, my real friends say, "Okay, let me know what you need. How can I support you? I'll be available whenever you need me." No pressure, but just know that I'm there. Just let me know what you need. When I stopped pretending to be fine at work, my coworker said, "Yeah, me neither. Thanks for being honest. I'm not okay. I'm glad you said something." And here's the wild part. When I stopped masking, I started attracting different people in my life. People who don't need me to be perfect. People who can handle me having feelings, big emotions. People who don't need me to manage their emotions of the discomfort from me showing my honesty and my true feelings. And it turns out the mask wasn't protecting me. I was keeping the wrong people close and the right people away. And I'm learning I don't have to earn love by being easy or by being fine or by taking up no space. I can just be. I can be messy. I can be tired, overwhelmed, real. And I can just sit here today, like just in my robe and just be me. And it's a day that I'm feeling vulnerable. It's a day that I'm processing the grief of losing my brother at a very young age. but it still feels like it happened yesterday. And the people who can handle that, those are my people. Those are the people I want around me and need around me. And here's the thing that I want you to hear. If you've been masking, if you've been pretending you're fine when you're not, you're making yourself small. You are just managing everyone else's feelings. And I want you to know that you're not weak. You're not broken. You learn to do that because it kept you safe. When you were young, that was appropriate because you were a child. You don't know what else to do, but your nervous system was keeping you safe. When you're showing your real feelings, felt dangerous. And it worked for a while. But here's what I'm learning. You don't have to do that anymore. You're not 14 anymore. I'm not 14 anymore. You're not 8. You're not 9. However, whatever age you were, you're not in that situation where pretending to be fine was the only option. You have options now. You can take up space now. You can be real. You can let people see you. And yeah, some people will leave. Some people need you to stay masked because it makes them comfortable. Those are not your people. Your people, they're the ones who don't need you to be fine. They're the ones who can handle you being human. And they're out there, I promise, because I've found them. I have found my people, and they're supportive, they listen, and they don't need to fix it. Just support. And just them being present with me when I'm experiencing the grief is more than I could ever ask for. So if you're new here, my name is Sly. I'm a pediatric registered nurse, and I'm a highly sensitive person. I've been in the medical field for the last 30 years, and I'm someone who spent 40 years masking and is just now learning to take the mask off. I also write about all of this on Substack. There's a community of us HSPs there. This channel is the video version of that community, and I'll put the links in the description below. And I want to let you know that tomorrow I'm starting a whole new series. It's about HSP relationships. And this is going to talk about how to stop attracting people who need you to stay masked, how to find people who can handle the real you, because that's the next step, right? Once you know you've been masking, the question becomes, who do I let see the real me now? I want you to subscribe below, turn on your notifications bell, and I don't want you to miss this new series that we're starting tomorrow. Leave me a comment. Tell me, how have you been masking? When did it start for you? Because the comments are where we hold each other, where we say the hard stuff out loud, where we realize we're not alone. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me share something this personal. If you're masking right now, pretending you're fine when you're not, I see you. And I want you to know you don't have to keep doing that. You can take up space, you can be real, and you can let people see you. And the right people, they won't run. They'll stay. They won't judge. They'll actually relate to you. And you'll realize that you're not alone. And I want you to know that I'm here too. I'll be holding space for you in the comments when you're ready. This is our safe space that we didn't grow up having as kids. I want you to also remember, you've got this, and you're doing better than you think. And I'll see you tomorrow.